They hated my garage color, so I covered the entire house in mirror chrome just to spite them. Have you ever faced such petty, unreasonable demands from an HOA that you considered taking extreme measures, like covering your entire house in mirror chrome, just to spite them? The vibrant teal of my newly painted garage door was, to me, a cheerful splash of color against the otherwise subdued tones of my home. The Kaleidoscope Bungalow. As Maya Sharma, a renowned abstract artist and color theorist, I believed in infusing life and personality into every space. My house, a charming mid-century modern, stood on a modest lot, clearly demarcated by a low, minimalist concrete wall. Then came Karen, not with a compliment on my bold choice, but with a stiff, formal letter and a face radiating pure disgust. I was applying a final coat of sealant to the garage door when a sleek, black Mercedes pulled up, its polished chrome reflecting the offending teal. Out stepped a woman in a perfectly coordinated pastel power suit, her expression pinched and severe. This was Brenda Albright, the notoriously rigid president of the Grandview Estates Architectural Review Board, a new, ultra-exclusive community that had expanded right up to our property line. "Ms. Sharma," Brenda announced, her voice clipped and precise, carrying over the gentle hum of my air compressor. "Your obnoxious garage door color is a flagrant violation of Grandview Estates' harmonious aesthetic and property value preservation covenants. It's a blight. It clashes with the sophisticated elegance of our community, dragging down our collective curb appeal. And your unusual garden art and the glare from your solar panels are creating a visual nuisance, disturbing the tranquility. I demand you immediately repaint this garish door to an approved neutral tone, remove those disturbing garden elements, and cover those blinding solar panels, or face escalating fines and immediate legal action. We will make your life a living hell until you comply." She held up a thick rulebook, tapping a manicured finger against a highlighted section titled, "Approved Exterior Palettes." The main conflict, audacious and utterly infuriating, was laid bare. Brenda, a predatory HOA president, was attempting to dictate the very color of my private property, fabricating claims of aesthetic violations and a profound disregard for my artistic expression. Her demands were not only ludicrous, but rooted in a profound sense of entitlement and a pathological need for control, treating my cherished home and unique lifestyle as a personal affront to her rigid, prejudiced vision of suburban perfection. Her attitude was one of blatant contempt, believing her personal preferences granted her the right to intrude, dictate, and impose rules on sovereign land, completely ignoring artistic freedom and personal property rights. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady despite the anger simmering within me. "Ms. Albright," I said, stepping closer to my fence. "This garage door is on my private property, which is not part of your HOA. The color is a matter of personal artistic choice, and it's well within city zoning codes. My garden art is protected artistic expression, and my solar panels are a legal, environmentally responsible energy choice. Your harmonious aesthetic has no bearing on my private property, and I'm not a member of your association. I suggest you turn around and take your approved pallets back to your side of the property line before I consider taking this matter further." I even gestured to the prominently displayed private property, no trespassing signs. Brenda, however, merely scoffed, flipping a page in her rulebook. "Nonsense, Miss Sharma. Your personal choices are irrelevant when they violate our established community standards for architectural harmony and prestige. And while you may not be a member, your proximity impacts our values, giving us the right to demand compliance. You'll be lucky if I don't sue you for creating a public nuisance and obstructing our committee's efforts to maintain order." Her tone was chillingly arrogant, her eyes holding a glint of perverse pleasure, as if she reveled in her perceived power to command authorities. Within minutes, a county code enforcement officer, clearly alerted by Brenda, pulled up, looking utterly bewildered by the scene. Brenda immediately launched into a dramatic, fabricated account, claiming I was aggressively resisting and threatening her with blinding reflections from my solar panels. The officer, trying to make sense of the bizarre situation, began to question me. Then, Brenda's audacity escalated into a direct, shocking act of physical destruction and artistic sabotage. While the officer was distracted, Brenda, with a triumphant sneer, pointed to a meticulously crafted, large-scale kinetic sculpture I had just installed in my garden, its colorful elements gently turning in the breeze. "And remove that eyesore. It's a safety hazard and attracts undesirable attention," she shrieked. One of her HOA volunteers, a burly man clearly trying to appease her, hesitantly approached the sculpture. With a grunt of effort, he shoved the heavy kinetic sculpture, causing it to topple and collapse into a tangled mess of broken metal and shattered glass, shards scattering across my lawn. Then, with a perverse sense of satisfaction, Brenda herself grabbed a large can of ultra-matte black industrial spray paint from her handbag and, with a vicious grin, began to spray it directly onto my solar panels, completely obscuring their surface and rendering them useless. It was a calculated, malicious act designed to cripple my artistic work, destroy my property, and intentionally cut off my sustainable energy source. Right after Brenda's act of destruction and brazen energy sabotage, a crucial twist unfolded from an unexpected source. As Brenda sprayed the solar panels, my latest invention, a miniature autonomous art bot, a tiny, camera-equipped drone designed to capture time-lapse footage of my sculptures, was in its final testing phase. It had just been released from my studio. It zipped unnoticed towards the solar panels, sensing the obstruction. The ArtBot immediately transmitted an alert to my tablet, along with a full video recording. It captured Brenda's entire destructive spree in chilling detail. Her explicit commands to destroy the sculpture, the shattering of the metal and glass, and her personally spraying the solar panels. But more importantly, the ArtBot's high-definition camera, still recording, had just captured a conversation from moments before, where Brenda, thinking she was out of earshot, was bragging to her volunteer. "This will cripple her little art project. And I've got a journalist from Elite Home magazine coming tomorrow. She's going to expose her unsightly property and ruin her reputation. Then we can acquire her land for a song for our new community gatehouse." It was an accidental, but terrifyingly real, twist, revealing a deliberate plan to ruin my reputation and seize my land for their pretentious expansion. The larger consequence of Brenda's actions became terrifyingly clear. My solar panels weren't just for my house. They were part of a community-wide clean energy demonstration project with the local university's environmental science department, showcasing off-grid living potential for sustainable urban development. Her deliberate act of destroying these panels, combined with the destruction of my unique art and the attempted fraudulent land seizure, wasn't just a petty act of malice. It directly jeopardized crucial scientific research and a vital public awareness campaign for sustainable energy. Her petty vendetta had escalated into a direct assault on both scientific progress and environmental initiatives, elevating her personal malice to a matter of profound civic and ecological significance. Armed with my ArtBot's irrefutable video evidence, the furious lead environmental scientist from the university, and my own burning desire for justice, I was done being subtle. As the code enforcement officer finally approached, looking thoroughly confused by Brenda's continued theatrics, she was still yelling about my dangerous equipment. "Officer, she's resisting. This artist is clearly a menace to our harmonious community." "Actually, Ms. Albright," I retorted, my voice cutting through her bluster, amplified by the news cameras that had just pulled up, having been tipped off by the university. "Your architectural harmony is about to become an arrest for felony vandalism, destruction of private property, and criminal conspiracy to commit defamation and fraud." I then projected my ArtBot's real-time video footage onto a large, portable screen for the officer and the news crew. The footage clearly depicted Brenda's malicious actions, the sculpture destruction, and her personally spraying the solar panels. "And you see that footage, officer?" I said, pointing to the screen. "That's Ms. Albright destroying my solar panels, which are part of a critical clean energy demonstration project with the local university. And hear this." I then played the audio recording of her boasting about fabricating evidence for the Elite Home magazine reporter and her plan to seize my land. The officer looked aghast, and the assembled news crew gasped, their faces paling. Brenda's face went from smug confidence to utter, absolute terror, her jaw hanging slack as the gravity of the situation and the unexpected legal twist dawned on her. No, that's impossible. That's a trick. He's lying, she shrieked, desperately trying to manipulate the situation, her voice shrill and breaking. She started pointing fingers, trying to blame my art bot, me, anyone but herself, her eyes wide with unadulterated fear. Just as her pathetic denials reached their peak, the silence was shattered by the distinct wail of additional sirens. More county sheriff's vehicles, but also a sleek black SUV marked FBI, Public Corruption Unit, pulled up. Out of the lead vehicle stepped a grim-faced federal agent, followed by the county prosecutor, a representative from the Department of Energy, Renewable Energy Division, and the furious lead environmental scientist. The DOE representative spoke first, his voice cold and cutting. Ms. Albright, your actions have directly impacted a federally supported renewable energy demonstration project and risked the loss of invaluable research data. This is a severe federal offense, carrying significant prison time. The FBI special agent stepped forward. And Ms. Albright, we've also been investigating reports of widespread fraudulent practices and financial irregularities within the Grandview Estates HOA, specifically regarding the coercive acquisition of adjacent private properties and the diversion of HOA funds to shell corporations ostensibly for community beautification projects that never materialized. Your documented acts of felony vandalism, destruction of private property, criminal conspiracy to commit defamation and fraud, and repeated criminal harassment align perfectly with these ongoing investigations. Furthermore, we have evidence of significant sums of HOA funds being diverted to offshore accounts linked to your shell corporations, ostensibly for development projects that never materialized, and a history of utilizing aggressive tactics to target independent landowners for illicit acquisition and harassment. A nervous murmur rippled through the gathered Grandview Estates residents, who had followed the commotion, as one stammered to the FBI agent. She told us the beautification fees were for our new private golf course expansion. We had no idea the money was being sent to her sister's consulting firm in the Bahamas. It was a chilling revelation. Brenda wasn't just a busybody. She was a criminal mastermind, systematically defrauding her own members, attempting to seize valuable research land, and committing serious environmental and public fraud for massive personal profit, with the aesthetic uniformity complaints merely a cover for her grand scheme. A past incident, whispered among her former colleagues, revealed that Brenda had been previously disbarred from a regional urban planning board for systematic abuse of zoning laws for personal gain. The consequences for Brenda Albright were immediate and utterly devastating. She was arrested by federal and local authorities on multiple charges, including federal offenses for bribery, environmental crimes, conspiracy to commit fraud, felony vandalism, and later, as the full extent of the fraud was uncovered, for massive embezzlement, wire fraud, and racketeering. The Grandview Estates HOA was placed under immediate federal oversight, its assets frozen, and a full forensic audit exposed tens of millions in stolen funds, a systematic scheme orchestrated by Brenda and her network. Her carefully cultivated image as the benevolent community leader shattered into irreparable pieces. The HOA residents she had once intimidated and defrauded now turned on her, furious at being manipulated and exploited, their HOA funds stolen, and their properties facing environmental and legal liabilities due to her criminal actions. Her social circles, built on an illusion of wealth and influence, abandoned her completely, unwilling to be associated with such public disgrace. Her vast real estate holdings, her fortune, her status, her perceived power all confiscated as part of the ongoing investigation and subsequent lawsuits. She lost everything, her freedom, her fortune, and her reputation. The ultimate irony was that her audacious attempts to dictate my house color and seize my land led to the complete unraveling of her vast, illegal enterprise, culminating in a lengthy federal prison sentence. As for the Kaleidoscope Bungalow, it truly became a vibrant testament to resilience. The solar panels were cleaned and restored, the sculpture painstakingly rebuilt and relocated to a prominent public art space, and my house, now famous for its role in exposing a criminal and protecting vital research, became a beacon of artistic freedom and sustainable living. And yes, I did paint the entire house. Not teal, but with a specially formulated, high-gloss mirror chrome paint. Every surface, from the garage door to the roof, reflected the sun with dazzling intensity, sending brilliant, shimmering beams directly into Brenda's now unoccupied luxury home next door. A permanent, dazzling monument to a battle won. What's your take on this? When someone so brazenly abuses power, commits felony vandalism, sabotages critical scientific research, attempts bribery to seize land, and defrauds an entire community, does their complete and utter downfall, even to federal prison, truly serve justice? Or is there a point where the consequences become too extreme?